So this tool over here is the move tool. That'll do what you expect it to do. So I'm going to select, I've got my little selection tool here. I'm going to select the whole thing. That's called a marquee selection. You can see everything's selected. If I choose my move tool now, I can grab this object and I can kind of place it anywhere I want. And something quite cool, if I hold down the control button and drag, it creates a duplicate for me. So I can do that as many times as I want, which is really quite cool. If I wanted to move just part of something, then what I could do is select just a particular face. So if I select this face and chose the move tool, I can move just that particular face, so I can do all sorts of strange contortions of that shape if I chose to. I'm not going to do that. Anytime I want to get out of what I'm doing, I can just basically press escape. But before I do that, you'll see down the bottom here, it gives you advice. So there's continuous information down the bottom there telling you how you can use different tools. So I'm just going to get rid of the shapes the ones I don't want now. So I'm going to highlight this one here and delete it. And you can see, quite interesting, I only deleted part of this one and it's kind of hollow on the inside. I will get rid of the rest of it. You can see the bits that are left. I'm actually going to use the eraser. I'm just going to use the eraser to remove those bits, and we'll get onto the eraser tool again later on, but we're going to stick with this one for the time being. I'm going to show you a few other things with that. I'm just going to move it back somewhere a bit closer in. Escape to deselect. The drawing tool, so this is the pencil tool. This is just for doing lines, but it's really quite useful what you can do with it. So I'm going to zoom in on here a moment, and I'm going to show you a few things with this. So you'll see first of all that the cursor itself locks to certain positions. So it knows these corners, they go green, they're end points. It knows the centers, they're midpoints, they go blue. So what I can do is I can draw a line from here, find that the midpoint on this edge, there you go, sorry, the center point, or the midpoint as they call it, and I can draw myself a triangle. Now I can also go from this point to the edge corner here, midpoint rather, and I've kind of divided it up a little bit. So what can I do with that? Well, if I actually now use this eraser tool, I can click and I can delete things. Now that looks very peculiar as I get rid of those lines. So what can I do to make that more interesting? Well, if I want to create this now into a triangle, I can join those back up again. Okay, weird, eh? So if I take this, I can get rid of the extra bits that I don't want. So now I've made a kind of different sort of shape. I'll show you an easy way of doing that. If I rotate my object around and I draw the line now, so I've got a line on both, sorry, choose my pencil tool, I can go from here to here. Now if I start deleting things, it won't go hollow because it's got other lines to move to. So I don't have to draw that other line in again. So I've got basically a triangle shape now. So I can do lots of things like that. If I divided my lines up again, so I go from a midpoint here and I go to the midpoint here, if I now use my push-pull tool, I can move one bit up without doing the other bit. In fact, I can do lots of weird and wonderful things with this now. I can pull up all sorts of shapes and I can subdivide anyhow whenever I want. So again, I can come from here to here and I could then use my push-pull tool and I can, oops, wrong tool, let's escape that, go back, pick the right tool, sorry, that one there. I can move this one up. It's almost like making a Rubik's Cube. So I can do whatever I want with these kind of shapes to make them more interesting. The other thing I can do is if I hold down while I'm doing pulling, I can create another sort of section of it. So on here, instead of just pulling, if I hold down Control and pull, you can see it produces like a subsection. So then I've got the options of doing things with that as well. So this is a really powerful tool